Are you ready to step into the most unforgettable hour of your life? Good, cause you are getting ready to experience the captivating, inspirational, timeless Dr. Claudreen Jackson.
Join us this season for unforgettable guests, unforgettable stories, and unforgettable moments. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this power-packed hour.
Hello, 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 and thank you so much for tuning in to the Claudreen Jackson Show. I am your host for the show, thanking you for the privilege of your time. The Claudreen Jackson Show likes to introduce you to exceptional, remarkable people in the community. And I have an exceptional, remarkable guest that I'll introduce you today. But we'll first start with a prayer and a poem. It's a poem that was not written by me. I do write poetry, but this was in the Guidepost publications, and it has sustained me down through the years. It's called God Is. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides the way through every moment of the day. God is my health, I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing, quick. God is my all, I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. I now am wise, I now am true, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am, can do, and be, through Christ, the truth that is in me. Amen. Now, I don't want you to think that I live up to everything in that poem, but it's kind of a benchmark for what we're aiming for. I won't tell you that I'm wise and true and patient and kind and loving and all of that, but that's what we aim for. So that poem has been a great sustainer for me down through the years, so I thought you might like to hear it. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank the people who have donated to the Purvis Jackson Jr. Autism Foundation. And we wrote you a poem for the people that donated. If you make a donation to the Purvis Foundation, whether it be large or small, we pray that God's love comes down to you from above, because you are the best people of all. If you make a donation to the Purvis Foundation, you're helping handicapped children in need. So you can be proud of yourself, because you've already done a good deed. A donation to the foundation will help the situation. Because we can't do everything, doesn't mean we can't do something. So a donation to the foundation will help the situation. Handicapped children can get help from me and you, because we will do what we can do. And if you want to make a donation to the Purvis Foundation, we will greatly appreciate you. You can find us at our P.O. Box 04422. That's P.O. Box 04422, Detroit, Michigan 48204. You can also find us at purvisjackson.org. You can also find me on Facebook. So I thank you for the privilege of your time, and now I'm ready to introduce my exceptional guest who has quite a story. Rodney Stepp is a musician extraordinaire along with many other things. Rodney Stepp was a member of the Spinners Orchestra for years, so he'll explain to us how long he was with the Spinners and what he's doing now. Welcome, Rodney. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on my show. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Claudreen. It's been it's just great to be here, and especially with you.
Well, bless you. Thank you. So we'll start with your years with the Spinners, because that's when I first met you. So how many years were you in the Spinners Orchestra? And tell us what instruments you played.
Okay, I was actually with them for 7 years total.
Okay.
I play keyboards, and I always used to say that I got myself a little world-renowned, especially in the industry, on Mighty Love when we recorded live at Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and I did that organ solo.
All right,
and,
all right.
Yeah, so that kind of put me on the map a little bit, but those 7 years with the guys were some of the most wonderful years I've had.
Purvis spoke very highly of you.
Well, the guys were always just wonderful to us, and they showed us the way. A lot of people don't know, but we really kind of started with the Spinners in our early teens.
Wow.
And before they were able to have a full-time band, when they'd go to different cities, they would hire musicians, and we just happened to be some decent musicians, and Billy would come in and rehearse.
I know better than that. I know you were excellent musicians, not decent, excellent, and I am a witness.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they came to Indianapolis, and every time they just remembered us, and they started picking us up one by one. They picked up our guitar player, our bass player, Rodney Voorhees. They picked up Alan Burke, and all of us Indianapolis guys. All those good musicians in Detroit, but they came to Indy.
They came to Indy. All right.
They sure did.
So you have been through so much in the past few years. So shall we talk about the Spinners album first, or shall we talk about your medical situation? Which one do you want to get out the way?
Well, I guess really the medical situation, because I feel like it can bring maybe some people some hope.
Yes.
And inspiration to know that, God is able, and He's always there. And He might not be there when you need Him, but when you call Him, He's right on time.
And I want to say that you don't look like what you've been through.
Oh, well, that is a blessing.
Yes, you are a testament to that. So tell us about your medical situation.
Well, it all started March of 2020. In March 2020, to kind of condense it a little bit for you, I was diagnosed with COVID-19. And that was right at the beginning of COVID, when nobody knew anything. Doctors didn't know anything about it. Everything was an experiment, so to speak.
Right.
I ended up on the vent for 14 days.
Wow.
They basically thought I was not going to make it. They were preparing my family for that, because I got down to a point where I was only breathing 10% on my own, so the vent wasn't doing any good. They say the vent only works at down to about 25%, and I was way below that.
Wow.
And it went on. I was in the hospital for 7 weeks, and just because I attributed all to God and all the prayers from all over the world, they did a prayer vigil for me 4 days. Exactly 7 days after I was admitted in the hospital, because that Sunday the doctors told the family that if you're believers, you better call on Him now, because we don't think He's going to make it through the night.
Wow.
The next day they had a prayer vigil for me that Monday at 6 o'clock, and over 400 people came out to the hospital. I mean, there were cars everywhere, I understand. Of course, I didn't get to see it until afterwards on YouTube.
Well, I was going to say, during that time, did you know how bad off you were?
No, because I was in a coma. I was pretty much asleep.
Okay.
They actually said I basically almost flatlined 3 times.
Wow.
During that period. After the prayer vigil on that Monday evening at 6 o'clock that they had at the hospital, 4 days later, you could say I resurrected.
All right. What an inspiration.
I started showing signs of light. Yes, ma'am. And I started showing signs of life, and then the journey really began.
Yes, I'm sure it did.
Oh, yes.
But that wasn't your only medical challenge.
No, it's because of COVID, I ended up having to, my kidneys went down. In fact, most of my organs during the time I was in the coma and on the vent, all my organs were failing. Everything.
Wow.
And they discovered that I went into stage 4 kidney failure. And so basically I lost my kidneys, and I was on dialysis for 13 months. They say once on dialysis, always on dialysis.
So I've heard.
Well, I defied the odds again. After 13 months, my nephrologist brought me into the office one day and she said, we're going to try something because your numbers, they're still bad, but I think we can take you off of dialysis. But, you know, you'll have to do labs once a week, and I've got to have them. So they took me off, and I stayed off until this April when I finally got called for the kidney transplant in Cleveland at the Cleveland Clinic.
So you just got the transplant this year in April?
April 29th.
Wow. And
I'm fresh from the kidney transplant.
And look at you. What an inspiration that is for others who are going through similar challenges. To see you hale and hearty and looking like you haven't been through anything.
In fact, I go back to work starting Monday, so.
Oh, wow.
But we had to live in Cleveland for 4 weeks, and then I had to go back. I've been going back every other week. It's about a 5-hour drive from Indy to Cleveland. But yeah, I've been going back every other week, and this time I don't have to go back until August the 20th. And on the 21st, I'm going to have a biopsy on the kidneys. They want to make sure that there's no rejection and that type of thing. But all my numbers, they have been fantastic. I mean, you know, just all over the board. Before I had the transplant, I was on high blood pressure medicine, basically taking a very low dose. I mean, 0.5 milligrams of amlodipine, and everything is running smooth.
Wow. The fact that you have been through all of that, weren't you? I know you've still been doing some performing even after all that, or was it before all that?
It was before all of that. I had to completely shut down. I've been shut down until last night. I did my first show last night with the gospel group that I play with called Men in the Fire. We were at a place called the Jazz Kitchen in Indianapolis last night.
Wow.
And that was my first one. Of course, I had to wear my mask, and they made sure that, you know, nobody would shake my hand or come and hug me or this and that.
Wow.
So our road manager, he was very strict last night. He was nice, but he just let people know you can't be around Rodney. He's got to go to the dressing room, and then tonight the rock band that I play with, the Flying Toasters, that I've been with for 20 years,
right,
which is unheard of.
Right.
But,
yes.
I've been with this band 20 years, and tonight's my first night back with them.
Well, I am so proud of you because I know, as you know, that music is therapy for the soul. So that's
definitely.
You being the excellent musician that you are, and still working with your music has probably been good for you, for your soul, as your body is healing.
Was. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It definitely was, especially during the time when I was home. I was home from the COVID situation 6 months. You know, I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. I was in, you know, not only therapy 3 days a week, but I had to go to dialysis 3 days a week.
Oh, my.
And so, yeah, and then I switched to peritoneal dialysis, which was better for me, but which is home dialysis. And the thing is though it was better for me, I had to do it every day and every night. And I had to do it for 9 hours. My prescription was for 9 hours every night. So that kind of put a damper on my quality of life.
I don't know if you remember that Billy Henderson had that same situation. And that was one of the reasons.
Road.
Yes, yep. Well,
he was carrying his. Yep.
Well, you are an inspiration for people who are going through things. But let me talk about your production company. You do have a production company, right? And you produced an album on the Spinners. Tell us about the Spinner album. And I want you to know that listening to parts of the album today, Purvis used to play that album for me. when you were working on it.
Oh yeah, yes. I tell you, the guys really, even from some of the articles that I've been able to find that were written while they were here and we were recording, everything I saw that the guys said, they were very happy and very confident that they were going to get a deal and everything else. I feel like the music was quality. It was A1. I felt like Tom Bell would be proud of me. You know?
He would. Well, let me tell you, Purvis was proud of you, because when I started hearing the album, I said, oh, Purvis played that. I remembered the songs from when Purvis would play them for me. So were you...
And you know how it is.
No, I was just going to ask, were you in Detroit during that time, or was he in Indianapolis, or you were back and forth?
They were in Indianapolis. They came here. They came from, I owned a studio for 25 years here in Indianapolis.
All right.
And they all drove down. Okay. And it was, of course, John, Billy, Purvis, Henry, and who did I miss?
Bobby,
John,
did you say Bobby?
Bobby,
yes.
Yeah. It was the original guys, you know, which was beautiful. That session started in 1994, and we ended up, it was in the fall, almost fall and winter, when they had a little break period, you know, from touring. And they were willing to come down. They came down. We recorded. I got the nickname as Dracula. I think it was Purvis.
Probably. Purvis loved giving names. Dracula, why Dracula?
Well, the story goes like this. They said I was, you know, like, they couldn't believe. They would come in the studio about noon every day because they like to sleep. Okay?
Yes,
and
they did.
They like to sleep, and then they like to get breakfast.
I know, yep.
So they would get to the studio, and of course we would have food and everything laid out. We always catered food every day for them. They didn't have to go anywhere, anything. And what Purvis was like, the first day that they had to come back, because I was trying to get them to come back about 10 o'clock, and they were like, oh, no.
I know.
Noon would be fine.
Yes.
And so Purvis asked me, he said, man, y'all got all this stuff done. How long you been in here? I said, well, I came in at 5 this morning. He said, but we didn't leave till 1 in the morning.
Oh, my goodness.
He said, you Dracula, aren't you? And that's how they started calling me Dracula all during that session. So it was so funny, but that's our work ethics.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't want to waste their time. We had a lot of material to get done in 5 days,
and they trusted
and we
you.
did all that music in 5 days.
Well, they trusted you, and they were right, because having musicians that you could count on, and I know that Purvis could count on you and that he believed in you. So did you write any of the songs on that album, or did any of them write anything?
Purvis was the only writer from the group.
Okay.
And Purvis wrote, there was a song called Just to Get Back to You. And what we decided to do, because I had this idea, we had written the vocal part of the song, but I had, you know, with Purvis having that voice, I said, man, people need to hear your voice more than just 12:45. You know?
All right.
They need to hear a whole.
Thank you for
know,
that.
12:45 is nice.
Yes.
But they really need to hear your speaking voice, and you write so well.
Yes.
I said, man, take this track and write some poetry to it. And that's the one, yeah, baby. You know, and he wrote, and we did like I would call it like an Arthur Prysock version, you know, featuring Purvis Jackson. You
wow.
know? So, and, but Purvis wrote that. We had, most of the songs came from me and my partner, James Walker Jr., who is my lyric writer. I did the majority of the music. June and I both did the lyrics. We had another guy named Eric Fleming on our staff that wrote some music and wrote a couple of songs. I think Trouble, and he wrote Just to Get Back to You. And then we had Alan Burke chipped in, Mike Simmons, and then my cousin Bill Simmons, who's the leader of the group Midnight Star. And Bill wrote "You and I Can Make It Happen," and so we had a good. We spread it around with the writing staff.
Yes.
And we were able to get 7 or either 8 songs done in 5 days, which is phenomenal.
Wow.
It's,
That is phenomenal. And the album is phenomenal. Now, what do we have to do to get it released?
Pray. We've been trying to release this music on the group since 1995.
Oh, wow.
Buddy was involved.
Okay.
Buddy was still living, then. Buddy and Steve and Connie were involved. They tried to get him a deal. We had an attorney named Max Siegel, who is phenomenal. He used to be with Tommy Boy, and then he was with BMG. He was the president and CEO of Verity Records, the gospel end. Okay. And now he's in charge of the Minority and Diversity Division of NASCAR, and he's the CEO of America's track and field.
Yes.
Max is he's really doing it. But Max tried to. We weren't successful in getting a deal at that time. But then we ran into opposition a few years ago, a little pushback. I guess because since we own the masters, we own the music and everything, we don't want to relinquish it unless it makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's no sense.
Absolutely.
It's ours,
Yes.
And we're fair. So it's just a matter of the current management or whoever's handling the Spinners business right now, sitting down and talking with us.
Well, maybe,
we're not that hard to talk to.
I agree. And maybe us putting it out there in the universe now,
yes, ma'am,
will help, because it's a beautiful album that's worthy of being released. And I'm not just saying it because it's the Spinners. I'm saying that because it's a good album.
And the fact that their fan base, they have such a large and wonderful fan base. That's why they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's why they got a star on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yes.
And I think people should hear these original guys. I love the new guys. I love what they're doing to carry on the name and the tradition. But you've got 5 of the original guys that have recorded some music that nobody's ever heard but
absolutely,
us.
Absolutely.
The wives, the guys, my production team, nobody else has heard it. So yeah, it deserves to be out there. And I think if the fan base knew it was out there, they would start demanding to hear
it. We're getting up there in age, so a lot of the fan base has passed on. But the music is good enough that younger people will like it. Let me tell you, when I was teaching, my students would come in singing inappropriate words, and I'd say, that's inappropriate, you can't sing that in here. They'd say, oh, Miss Jackson, it's a hit. Tupac, Snoop Dogg, it's a hit, Miss Jackson. I say, well, it's not a hit in here. I said, this is the room of education, and I have to teach you appropriate things. So I started bringing in some of the Spinner songs and some other Motown songs, and we'd have relaxation time and listen to music. Well, I didn't want to push it on them, but on the days, some of the days when we didn't have it, they said, Miss Jackson, can we listen to some of that music? So they loved the music. They just hadn't been exposed to it. And the Motown lyrics and all the Spinners lyrics and all the things that I've heard you do, there's no profanity, no abuse, nothing that you couldn't play in a classroom of students.
That is correct. And we're an advocate of the no profanity, no degrading of women, no no killing, shooting, this and that,
Absolutely.
I guess that's why, I do work with a couple of rappers, but the rappers I work with are clean. One of them's a minister.
All right.
In fact, I have I have you know, I'm gonna tell on myself. I have an alias out there. Okay.
Okay. Other than Dracula.
Other than Dracula, I have an alias called Dr. Funk.
All right. All right.
And Dr. Funk is this little cartoon character that makes music, right?
Okay.
So, and I'm hoping and praying someday that I can get the attention of Cartoon Network, and we can create a thing about, you know, a story about music, and have a weekly show with this cartoon about being on the road and this and that. But I have a new song coming out in a few weeks with a rapper called 12, and he's a minister, and the song is called Cheers, and we are this. I do all of my hard R&B type music under the name of Dr. Funk.
Oh.
And then, of course, you know, I'm producing gospel.
Yes.
I produce Men in the Fire. I produce my own gospel tracks. And then I also do smooth jazz. So I have 2 smooth jazz albums out there, one called Stepping Out and the other one called Second Chance. And my newest single is called Sunny Days. And it features a guy named Brian Thompson on saxophone, who is he's just so gifted, talented, and blessed. Brian's 27 years old. He's the sax player for Babyface.
Oh.
He's from Indianapolis. Babyface is from Indianapolis. And he
a lot
also
of good music in Indianapolis.
That's right. And he plays with Brian Simpson. He's played with Tony Braxton. I'm just blessed for him to be on my new single, Sunny Days. And, you know, we were talking about music as far as when I got out of the hospital. You know, I was telling you when we talked earlier that I couldn't play.
Right.
You know, and I thought I was never going to play again because my motor skills were just gone. And once again, God blessed me. And one day in August, I sat down at the piano and my fingers started working, and this song came to me. And I said, since it's my first song since being, you know, the almost death experience with COVID, I said I'm going to call it C19. And I spelled it out. I just did C and then ONE and NINE.
Yes.
But it stands for C19. And it was an instrumental, and it did very well. And after that, I did a song called No Not Him, a gospel song, to give the message. And I told the story through a video with the words, you know, and I brought in some phenomenal singers and musicians, and the video and everything, just Steve Cooper Music and the Dynamic Productions did the production on it, and they gifted me with the production. You know, videos cost. They gifted me.
Wow.
And yes, they did.
Wow.
I mean, brought in the lighting, the crew, the everything, and they really did a phenomenal job. And but I put that out there because, again, you know, people, from my experience with this, what happened to me, a lot of people do need a lot of hope. And
yes.
And a lot of people are still believing that COVID kills. They want to have all kind of conspiracies and things. I'm telling you, COVID kills, and it's here to stay. And it's back again. There's a new strand out.
Isn't that something?
2 of my best friends have it right now.
Oh,
right
my.
Today.
Oh,
they
my.
just came back from a cruise, an Alaskan cruise, and him and his wife are sick.
Oh.
You know? And he couldn't perform last night. He's in the gospel group Men in the Fire. And Michael couldn't perform last night because of the COVID.
And some other people that I know, because I love cruises. I used to cruise all the time. I'm in my 80s now. I don't have to go on any more cruises. But I hear of people coming back from cruises and having COVID. And some of our church members, we're here at the New Mount Vernon Missionary Baptist Church that I have been a member of for over 50 years. And I am a deacon. I was the first lady deacon here. So God is working miracles in the world with both of us.
Ain't he good?
And there's a scripture that talking to you reminds me of, Romans 8:18. The sufferings of the present day are not worthy to be compared to the glory which will be revealed in us. So you've been through the suffering. Now it's time for the glory.
Yes, ma'am. And he's so, his grace and mercy is what brought me through all of this. I have
Absolutely.
a new theme song. I didn't write this theme song. I should have, but Marvin Sapp, He Kept Me. That is I listen to it almost every day.
Yes.
It speaks to me. And you know, the lyrics, the song, the melody, everything, it just really speaks to me.
And that's good.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want us to you want to tell us about, I know you've been married for a long time. I saw your anniversary celebration. So how many years have you been married?
Well, right now this is my second marriage, but I've been married for 24 years. Our anniversary is tomorrow.
Wow.
Our anniversary's tomorrow.
Well,
and,
congratulations to you too, because I've seen pictures of you and your lovely wife on Facebook.
Yes.
So, and do you have any children?
I have 4 girls and a stepson.
I
don't call him a stepson. He's my son, okay?
That's the way Purvis was with my children. He didn't like that word, step. So,
no.
Are any of them interested in music?
Well, they all were, but then they all had their different paths.
Yes.
And now they're all mad because they're like, you should have made me keep playing. I said, no, I told you when you started, I don't do that. You know, I don't, you've got to, it's got to be your passion. It's got to be your spirit.
Yes.
And I'm not going to make, too many parents try to make their kids do something that they want them to do. You needed to find your path. And they found it, but then they let go of the music, and now today every last one of them wish they could play.
And you know,
and I told them it's not too late though.
It's not too late. I've heard the same thing from my children. Well, you should have made us do such and such. You should have made us do such and such. The energy that it would take to make them do what I wanted them to do as opposed to what they wanted to do, I just didn't want to expend my energy that way.
And see, I have 9 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild.
And I have 9 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when you're talking to an interesting person, the time goes fast. Would you believe our time is up?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And I feel like we're just getting started. So maybe we'll have to have a part 2 one day.
Yes. Well, I thank you so much for being a guest on my show, and your story is inspiring to me, and I'm sure it's inspiring to a lot of other people.
Well, God bless you, and thank you for having me on the show. And definitely, you can call on me anytime because I'll be around.
I like that. And keep on adding music to the world.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Will.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Claudreen Jackson Show. Hopefully you've been inspired by my very inspirational guest that I just talked to. So until next time, may the power of God protect you and may the love of God enfold you. Take care of yourself.